And today's broadcast is brought to you by Eclectic Horseman Magazine. Stay tuned for Eclectic Conversations hosted by Emily Gitchie.
We're here today to visit with Millie Hunt Porter about her book, Prescription for People's Purple Problems. So I hope that you enjoy learning about the inspiration for this book. How are you today, Millie?
Very well. We're having a heat wave out here, but it's cool this morning.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, this book is a little bit different from the books that people might associate with you or who have been exposed to that you've written. So I'm curious about how this book came about.
Oh, it's kind of easy to explain. When I was a little person, even just beginning to talk, I liked to do rhymes. They didn't have to make any sense because I didn't know what the words meant, but I would chatter away in rhymes, and I did that all my life. And in the later years, and I often used that little bit of gift that I'd been given to send thank you notes to people or poems to people telling them how much I liked them or whatever. I was surprised when I moved back to Idaho after being gone for 50 years that one of the ladies here in town named Fern that I had thought was so special when I was 8 and she was 16 had saved a little postcard that I had sent her when she had to be in the hospital as a young person. And I had sent her a get well card on a 3-cent postcard in a verse, a little verse, and she had saved that. So it was something I'd done all my life. And especially when my kiddos were young, I used that as a way to communicate with the teachers and the people that worked with the kids. However, as the years have gone by, I'd gotten real busy doing everything else and somehow or another had lost the ability. I couldn't rhyme. I just couldn't. It wasn't what I could do. And then after some situations that changed things, I was down in California, pretty close to Santa Cruz, and had remarried. George and I were living in Salinas, and there was a writers' conference coming up, a Christian writers' conference. And I thought, oh, that'll be fun. I'll just go and see what everybody else is doing. I thought, that's fun. I had no idea that when I got there, the very first day, they said, good morning. Now, what we're going to do, each of us, is write a book. And I'm going, a book? I didn't come to write a book. I just come to play. I was just flabbergasted that they would expect some kind of something to be produced in a weekend. However, it happened. This whole everything that I used, and in this, and there was a song about that time about that's where I got purple, but and when you use the term I'm blue, purple's a little worse than blue. So the idea of a prescription for people's problems. And the subtitle is called God's Book Has a Remedy, not meaning this poem book, but I have a friend who was she'd been reading her Bible for a lot of years, in more depth than I've ever had for more years than I have. So that's how come this book has Bible verses connected to the poems, just suggestions where you might find more to read. And the amazing part was that this whole book was done in 1 weekend, but we stored it in a box because it didn't seem to have the time or the place right then to. I wasn't sure what it was supposed to be, and anyway, it was stored in until years later, and 30 some years after it was written, and I was at a different place and a time in my life that I approached somebody, and that person helped me helped with the format, helped with choosing the photographs or the little pictures in the book. Came from where I was living, where I live now, in Brno, back in Brno. The little photographs that have a flower or a bird or a night sky or whatever were added then. And the very first poem, the foreword to the book, was written just before it was printed. So that explains, and the poem in the foreword explains that it's been in a box for quite a while, the book. But anyway, that's kind of how I'd always chattered away, like I say, in verse, not great stuff, just, however, my mother was very talented in writing poetry. Never published, but it was something that she had used her gift to encourage people or to show her love for different and connection to people through the years.
Well, one of my questions was about the pairing of the verses with the poem. Did the poem come first and then you found a verse that would match up well with that? Or tell me a little bit about that process.
Well, I'm going to read the foreword because that explains it a little better to start with, and then I'll enlarge on that a little bit. But the foreword says, this is a book that's set in a box for 34 years plus some. After all those years in a special place, I feel in my heart as time has come. The gift of verse I'd been given by birth had been dormant for many a year, till at a Christian writers' conference in a campus atmosphere, all the words came back in a rush this time, the tears and laughter blended in rhyme. As the words came pouring onto the page, I knew there were answers, not from a sage. My friend who came rushing to my side with God's book, she would know the answers, just where to look. Not that long ago and painful day, she knew John 3:16, I needed to pray. In a few short days at the writer's retreat, in this sequence, the verses came complete. Since I was still in an infant Christian stage, my friend chose the responses for each page. And by the time I published the book, my friend had passed away, but I know she knew we finished it. And that's kind of how it all came about. And then once I was writing again, I kept right on writing. Whenever something came up that stirred me, or I wanted to, do something. Whatever little gift I had came back and stayed. And I use it now occasionally.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about the response that people have had to this book. I think that
Well,
sort of, go ahead.
I thought I would just do the little book, one printing, and I would, my friends and family would enjoy it. And I was real surprised because I don't know why, but I was surprised that a lot of that it has found people who wanted to read it, and some people maybe because of the intimacy of the poems were drawn to it and used it. And then it's kind of in the price range for retired people, but it has sold for quite a few times for somebody who it was a special thing they shared with friends or family. Bought to to do that with, to share. But it's small and it fits people's hands. That might, and the color might attract food.
Well, and it, being blue or being purple isn't something that always people of a certain generation are comfortable expressing, but somebody might observe that from the outside and be able to share this book and start a conversation without making them uncomfortable.
I think that is a something that it's been able to do for different people. Yes, because there's humor in it, but there's also some pretty deep needs, pretty deep feel. It goes from everything to just whining about your neighbors to wondering if maybe you would be better off in the river. Pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
But not every page is that way because there's lots of things people go through in lifetime, and often it changes quickly, and then people get in a habit of whining or focusing on the negative, and a lot of the poems kind of jostle people a little bit for letting your mind stay that way too long on something negative. And some of them are just silly. I mean, they're having a bad day just because you got up on the wrong side of the bed, I guess.
Yeah. Well, would you feel like reading a few of these to share with our listeners?
Yes, I even marked. I tried not to mark all the same kind. I tried to go back and forth between the ones that, and of course I've already read the forward, but and it's kind of, and this one was kind of a serious one. From the bridge above the water, why and why not mix and mingle till they merge into a single swirl, tossed on the crest of the flood's gray tide, reach and beckon a place to hide, to curl away forever from all strife, the tug and pull, the pain of life. Too much, too purple. If it had not been the Lord who was on our side, then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our soul. Psalm 124, 1 and 4. That not everybody has a day like that, but some people do sometimes. And then this one's just typical of whining. Now, if it wasn't for the neighbor's dog, I'd have it made. I've spent my time on grass and flowers. I deserve to rest in the shade, not turn purple. And the answer, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. John 9, verse 4. And I kind of like this one. I pay my tithe, my 10%. It's my business how the rest is spent. I work hard for my weekly pay. Now expense should be my say. The money is mine to do what I will. I'm going to be sure my needs to fill. I do my duty right down to a T. The rest, I'm sure, should belong to me. Purple possessions. When you shall have done all those things which are commanded, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. Luke 17:10. And I kind of like this one because people do this. It angers me that I ever should have to consider my neighbor's good. It wouldn't seem to me so bad if honor my feelings they ever had. Now, really, they're the unfriendly sort. They're apt to end you up in court. There's just no way end to what they do. They'd be all wrong, but still they'd sue. It's hard to believe that people like that. They're always ready to cause a spat. When I get good neighbors, I'm sure I will be able the golden rule to fill. Maybe. Now, which now was neighbor unto him? And he said, he that showeth mercy on him. Then said Jesus unto him, go and do thou likewise. But people get kind of in a rut of thinking, me. And I think that where they get a lot of purple. And this one, it's really my business what I do. I've heard it said, to thyself be true. I take it that gives me the right to be whatever I want. The choice is free. Free to be purple. You are not your own. You are bought with a price. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. But I kind of like this one, and I remember experiencing it because you see it quite a bit. I was standing in line in a bank. That explains it. The lady with the fashion hat sighs deeply as the tellers chat. The gent behind her in the line flicks his pen, reads the bank's new sign. The pensioner holds his monthly check. Stiffs his way, thinks, what the heck? The student nervously combs his hair, mutters to himself, it's just not fair. The mother holding her sleeping child feels, well, maybe a complaint should be filed. The girl from down at the grocery store used up her break time. She has no more. The merchant behind her takes her place. The frown deepens upon his face. The uniformed soldier moves up a step. He silently fumes at a business so kept. One by one, as they stand in the row, nasty tempers begin to grow, till, you guessed it, they all turn purple. And she answered with that, my soul is also sore vexed, but thou, O Lord, how long? Psalms 6:3. There's just so many things that people can fuss about. And I heard this one a lot during those years, because like I say, that was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, long time ago. Yeah. Okay, this one says the neighbors. One time too many. 3-word phrases, 4-letter words. I've had it. I'll just show them. For my children's sake, I'll make them turn purple. And the answer is, let none of you imagine evil in your heart against your neighbor. And this one, you don't see it often, but you see it. Dad, why should I answer to you? I'm old enough to do what I want to. Don't you know I should be free to do my thing, to just be me? All purple. Only a fool despises his father's advice. A wise son considers each suggestion. Proverbs 15:5. And they kind of go like that, back and forth between serious and goofy. And here's one that is typical of sometimes people think. I've made my plans and they're quite good. I've thought it all out like I know I should. I can't see why not doing my way to change my plans just ruins my day, makes it all purple. And she answered with that. Love does not demand its own way. 1 Corinthians 13:5. And so many times it's just because they got too much we. This one is really, I actually saw somebody that acted like this. Not very many. And it starts with, woman, can I tell you why on this sofa I shouldn't lie? I bring home the bacon. Can't see why you think I should carry out the garbage or get wood. I bring home the bacon. Don't bother me with the children's fuss. I don't care if the neighbors cuss. I bring home the bacon. Your mother's sick? Then go on over. But take the kids and that puppy Rover. I'm rested because I bring home the bacon. No, I'm not going to church today. You and the kids can go and pray. I bring home the bacon. Purple pig. And she answered, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. But I think what people relate to it is just they've been there or seen that or wondered why that. And this one, I know that it's easy when you're little to be where I say I was in this. As a child, I used to lie in the meadow and enjoy the sky. I'd watch the clouds go sailing by. I'd think about God and I. Now I'm grown. I have no time to watch the clouds or think sublime. My days go by at a hectic speed. There are so many things I need, purple things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33.
Oh, I like that one. That one spoke to me. That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some of them are just tickled or funny or whatever. But then some of them actually feel like, oops. And this is, I kind of went through a stage like this. When things get tough for me, I find I hurry to the phone and call my mother, sister, or my friend. Now my phone bills are not small. The baby's sick. It worries me. I call my special lady friend. She is a nurse and she can help. It soothes me when advice she'll lend. I need to do a pick-me-up. I've decided to cut my hair. I call my sister from out of state to chat a bit, my news to share. There's many things I'm not sure of, so I got to the phone and asked my mother, sister, or my friend, how should I complete my task? Say, could there be a different way? I'm sure the phone was meant to use. I need some help besides the phone, for the bills give me the blues. Purple phone problems. And the answer she chose was, call on me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. Jeremiah 33:3. And I went through a stage when I was fairly addicted, and it was expensive. The phone now is not anyways. That's one thing that's cheaper in this time. In this one, I have a lot of trouble waiting for patients to come. I get so agitated, my fingers, I start to drum. I give her many chances. How must she be so long? I just can't understand it. It seems to me all wrong. I have so darn much trouble. For patience, I have to wait. It really aggravates me. Why must she be so late? Purple patience. The trying of your faith work is patience, but let patience have her perfect work. And I tell you, don't ever pray for patience. Pray for wisdom. You'll get so many tests. It's a good idea to pray for wisdom.
Duly noted.
And years ago, you used to see this quite a bit, but you don't see it so much anymore. You would often run into somebody who would tell you, and I'm going to quit smoking. I really know I should. The way I figure it'd be better if I would. I have an awful cough. I've gotten short of breath. If smoking doesn't kill you, their price will cause you death. I've tried to quit smoking, been going to taper off, only 10 smokes a day. I want to shake this cough. I want to quit smoking. Everybody says I should. It's an awful habit. I'd shake it if I could. It turns your lungs purple, then black. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health. 3 John 1, verse 2. A lot of people in my age group, the end of World War and end of World War II, were very addicted to smoking because it wasn't told that it was a bad thing. And in fact, they gave them cigarettes in the service. So even doctors were addicted. It wasn't a bit unusual. And this one is one of those you keep to yourself poems. Tiny spider on your web, fragile thread, buffeted by fierce gusts, I see dread clutching at your guts. Hang on. My mind is like you, suspended there, hanging by a delicate thread, edge of tear, completely encased in lead. Hang on, hang on. You, like me, go unobserved. Tortured death, it must not show. Panic does not fuss. So no one is to know we hang on, hang on, hang on, till we turn purple. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. Psalm 56:3. And it just goes back and forth between serious and director. And I kind of thought I watched this one, and why all this came back in 2 days, it was just pretty much surprise to me. While people watching, I saw a boy in disgust throw down a broken toy. Shortly after, another lad recovered the toy and went away glad. I smiled, for in my life I've known many times the same lesson shown. The very possession one throws away, found by another, just makes their day. So what was the true color of this possession? Jesus said unto them, did you never read in the scriptures? The stone which the builders rejected, the same is become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous. Matthew 21:42. And some of them were just things that people do unconsciously. You hurry and worry and moan and groan and make yourself pretty miserable. But one day I did this. One day you'll have a day like this. I have a problem today. It's a backwards one, I'd say. There doesn't seem to be a way to see one little purple ray. My mind rejects all fretful things. It soars around on golden wings. My ears turn into joyous rings. To this melody, my heart rings. Can't find any purple. Then he turned my sorrow into joy. He took away my clothes of mourning. He gave me gay and festive garments to rejoice in, so that I might sing glad praises to the Lord. Psalm 30, 11 and 12 from the Living Bible. Most of the rest of them were King James. And there's just days when you just didn't do anything. And this one is just like, I must have been thinking, I don't want to move. If I don't move soon, I might petrify. I might just get where I don't try. Just petrify and turn purple. Be not slothful in business, fretful in spirit, serving the Lord. Fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. And there's poems about going on a diet, and poems that are usually a little more serious, kind of like this one. It's hard for me not to mind your business. There are things you ought to do a lot less. Now, I've been watching the things you do wrong. There is much blotching. You've done it so long. If you'll just listen, I will tell you all the things you're missing to make life a ball. Purple advisor, peddler. Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest he be weary of thee, and so hates thee. Proverbs 25:17. You can get in some habits that don't fit other people very well.
Or I was going to say that as a big sister, that one rings a little true for me too.
You get to doing those things that it'd be just a little easier on everybody if you did. This was important to me, and I had a lot of feelings about this. I had a friend who had a long losing fight with cancer from the time her kiddos were mid grammar school till they were in college. It's easy to talk to the grocery clerk I chat a lot with the girls at work. My beautician is quite a kick. We visit a lot. We really click. In teachers' conferences, I inquire and try to listen to what's required. My in-laws are friendly as can be. Our conversations all flow free. My children and I seem to relate. My husband says we communicate. I've always been able to talk without trying. But what do I say to a friend who's dying? I have no words. I'm purple. And her answer is, I am persuaded that neither death nor life shall be able to separate us from the love of God. Romans 8:38-39. But it has a lot of silly poems, a lot of kind of serious ones. This is a serious one. If you're wondering where your wife went, the golden girl you thought was heaven sent, the one who now occupies her place has the same form and familiar face. But if there now seems to be a wall around her that has grown so tall, and if to you it doesn't seem fair, who was the builder that put it there? Purple builder. And the answer to that is rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Proverbs 5:18. So it kind of vacillates back between some serious ones and some not so serious ones. And I kind of like this one to remind myself. Self-pity is often painful, usually destructive, never gainful, a way to acquire depression, purple problems. The answer, out of the depths have I cried until thee, O Lord. Psalm 131. And I've heard people do this, and I thought, goodness gracious. And the poem name is Mama Loves Sister. And it was a fellow I heard saying this. And I thought, where did you get that idea? Better than me. I can sure tell it. It's easy to see from the beginning on our family tree. It's always been sister who's held the golden key. I'm sure it's that way. What else could it be? So now I'll accept it since I'm 53. That's a long time to nourish a purple problem. And the answer is, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, for I am the Lord. Leviticus 19:18. But I actually was shocked when a person that old was doing Mama Loves Sister. Good grief. I don't remember having that one for myself. And we're kind of towards the end here. The first time I vowed to forgive trespasses, I did not know the meaning of the passage. Still, it impressed me with a duty sacred. Clearly, it was part of commitment, blood red. Thus, conviction grew stronger along with me. To forgive others was clearly my duty. Somehow it seems there was something I forgot, or in my youth or ignorance knew not. A lifetime I worked at forgiving others. I easily see folks as sisters and brothers. And when you turn the page, but somehow my growing has been incomplete. When I err myself, I continually beat. And I think a lot of people have that problem. They can be nice to other people, but And the answer was, and be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you. It's not even your business to beat yourself. It really isn't. But it's easy to do.
It is easy to do. It is.
It's easy to do and hard to break yourself of that habit. It's
Yeah.
just so much easier. You can just forget anybody, anything. But it's so hard to behave yourself when it comes to yourself. You always think I don't know why. That's pretty pretty high powered when you think you should have known. I mean, like, really, why would I do that? And this one is just for those days when you're being a whiner. Tell me who wrote this play. Just tell me who wrote this play. I've been rushing around all day to make everybody else glad. What about me? I feel sad. Somehow in this role, I see precious little time for me. One thing I will surely do, I'll rewrite this play anew. I'll rewrite my role to be one that leaves some time for me, so I won't be purple. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. And for a finale, I did pick one that I thought was the best last, if I can find it without looking very far. They're called all kind of the same, but maybe this is a good one to end on. If you've gotten into the habit of looking into your half-filled cup, and with a deep sigh you're lamenting the half you need to fill it up, when you're halfway on a journey, you anxiously count the miles ahead. The way they stretch along before you cause you to be filled with dread. When each situation arises, you only see the things you need. You better take a closer look. There's a lesson you should heed, or you'll always see purple. Delight thyself only in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. Psalm 37:4. And there's a whole bunch more, but they're all kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, there's something for everybody. Topics that at different times in your life for sure will resonate or not. But yeah, just a little bit of everything. And the humor, of course, always is wonderful.
Well, most of it, if you stop for a half a second, you'd probably laugh at yourself anyway. I mean,
Yeah, and it's hard to do when you're in the midst of it. But yeah, I think reading a poem and a verse, I think can get you out of that pattern.
And it seems so when they said write a book, and I was like flabbergasted, but it all came in one weekend at this writer's retreat, except for the forward. So that was the surprise to me.
Yeah,
Gift, I guess.
that's marvelous. That's marvelous. Well, is there anything else about this book that I have not asked you that we should visit about?
Well, I can't think of anything. It's just a little thing that somebody might enjoy, and it works for some people because it's tiny, and you can hold your hand and just read a little or read a lot, or it's one of those things you can leave around for somebody to pick up and enjoy or not enjoy. I think the smallness of it and the bright colors on the outside. The person who helped me put it together picked the picture picked the flowers, but I really like my own flowers in my this year with the late spring. I missed we missed about a whole month of flowers up here this year. I plant all the spring bulbs. I plant for early and medium and late, and every bulb, every daffodil, everything, every tulip bloomed at the same time because the weather kept them under the dirt an extra month this year. So I wasn't too well. They were pretty fantastic when they all came at once.
Yeah,
But it wasn't
I
my
bet.
plan.
Yeah. Well, there's a lesson in there, I guess. Our plans,
Yes, there's
best laid plans. Yeah.
yeah, my plans were, but it was pretty spectacular when they all came at once.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Millie, for taking the time, and I look forward to visiting with you again soon.
Thank you, and and I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.